All right. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Experience More podcast. Pumped and excited to have each and every one of you guys here today. As always, these are really some of my favorite episodes where I'm able to bring someone in to really share their experience, right? That's really the essence of the Experience More podcast, is to just showcase and tell stories and be a part of different individuals' stories to help others experience more of the outdoors, and beyond that, experience more of life, really, with the individuals that you love to go out and experience it with. There's so many different aspects of the outdoor world, especially as we get into the day and age where everything is just now, and instant gratification. I think it's very, very cool to be able to dive in and dig into people's stories and learn more about them and what has helped them really achieve what they have achieved in all facets, whether it's their physical successes, it could be their hunting successes, it could be their personal business successes, their family and significant other successes. There's a lot of facets that ultimately, especially when it's have the opportunity to be able to connect with good men out there, just to be able to allow people to understand, like, hey, we all have ups and downs in life and we all go through the same struggles. We're no different. We all put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. And it's able to learn through other people's experiences overall. So, and that really excites me for today's guest. Today, have the privilege to be able to go through and bring an individual who, really don't know a ton about. And that really just kind of excites me because able to ask questions and dig deeper into it. And it's not someone, we haven't hunted together. We haven't shared a campfire together. This is going to be really the true first conversation him and I have ever really had, to be able to just get to know him a little bit better, because I've watched this guy go through and from just little happenstances, I would say decisions in life have led him to become, and he will be able to correct me if I'm wrong, but I've watched him completely change his life. And I have heard it, not just from him, but it's that aspect where it's like, what are people saying about you behind closed doors? I've heard it from other individuals in his friend group and in his circle as well, to where it has made the decisions he has made him just a better human overall, better significant other, better, I would say, in all facets of life. Father-wise, I see him out there kicking ass on a day-to-day basis, different challenges that might go out. So with that being said, without spoiling a lot of the different stuff, Dennis is joining us today in good old, you in New Mexico right now? Where are we at?
I am. I'm in Tularosa, New Mexico today.
Hell yeah. Is it hot?
It is. I'm actually sitting in the truck because D's got a baseball game for varsity in about an hour. So the JV's playing,
Hell
so I
yeah.
figured this is perfect timing.
Hey, perfect, man. Well, definitely, I can respect that. I want to respect time and everything too. We'll be able to dig into some of this stuff, but dude, do all the listeners just kind of a favor. Give us, a little glimpse into Dennis's life over really the last. I mean, tell us who you are. Give us a background on you, and then we'll kind of dig into what's kind of happened. I'd say over the last 2-3 so years.
All right. Background. Grew up in New Mexico. Never really even hunted or thought about it until I decided to get sober. Was looking for something else to do positive with my life, and my brother
Mm-hmm.
invited me along, and he ended up not even going, and I started. My background for occupation is chef. I went to Le Cordon Bleu in Scottsdale. And then now I'm in the baking side of things. So that's what I do for a daily. So that
Okay.
keeps me busy along with I got two boys and my girlfriend has four kids. So we got a big Brady Bunch family. So we stay
Hell
busy.
yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah, dude. So with that, of course, I mean, let's kind of go in. I'm going to kind of direct this conversation looking at kind of the physical piece, right? Like how you and I got intertwined, right? And I think this is just how you keep, your surroundings, the saying of, hey, you are who you surround yourself with, the sum of the five individuals you surround yourself with. Our first really interaction was through the acts of kindness giveaway that was ultimately going with Armando, our good buddy over with the bow hitch. Kind of how did you get connected with Armando and just kind of find even the acts of kindness and really dive into the acts of kindness kind of giveaway, what that is all about?
Okay. I hadn't had social media for a lot of years. Went through a divorce and just didn't want to be on social media and what was bringing. So when I decided to get back to social media, I went with Instagram and I just was scrolling and adding new people. And I came across Armando, who's a fellow New Mexican and a fellow hunter. And before he even did the random acts of kindness, he was looking for donations for a fellow New Mexican who had a fire, lost everything. So I just sent a few things at the house that I could, and that's how I really got involved with Armando. And then I think it was the following year when he did the random acts of kindness, where literally all you got to do a kind deed for somebody, whether you hold the door, buy them a coffee, take your shopping cart back to where it's supposed to, and you tell them about it, and you get entered into this drawing that cost you nothing. You could win an Access deer hunt paid for in Hawaii, a brand new bow. Each year it's getting bigger and bigger, and I've won. My household has won every year, and this year I was fortunate. I got to be somebody who donated a prize, and that's what led me into the first forum with you, and then that's why I was so adamant about being on this podcast or just even talking to you, because the ripple effect of knowing Mondo to you has set me on a trajectory of a mindset, lifestyle, things I couldn't even fathom 2-3 years ago.
That's awesome, man. It's crazy, right? Like how it goes through and creates a ripple effect. 'Cause I mean, I could go into just even who I am and what I'm doing today, and I could attach that to, individuals that I ran into or listened to, whether it was Andy's podcast back in the day, back when I was in college, of how that little like butterfly effect ultimately happens, right? And just creates a ripple out. So I love that. And definitely, got to give a big shout out to Armando and the Bow Hitch crew. Phenomenal humans, him and Dougie, salt of the earth people. I would literally give you the shirt off their back. And that going into that, like that giveaway, it's cool because there is really no strings attached in any way, shape, or form. It's just, hey, go do something good. Let us know about it, right? Let us know what is going on and everything. But it's just to do exactly what you're talking about. Just create some sort of chain reaction that, puts a positive message out there in the world, right? And just make you aware of it. And it's been really, really cool to be able to see that go and grow and the effects on that. So I know with the Random Acts of Kindness giveaway, myself and with First Form Outdoors, we had given like, some products into there, the app, all the different stuff. Like you dove in. Of course, we got you set up in the app and everything like that. And you got involved with, of course, kind of the First Form community. Like when you say it kind of changed the trajectory of your life, like dive into that a little bit for us. Like what happened in the time from when you got the winnings, right? Got some of the product, the app, like what changed in really that first year?
Okay. I really thought about, in New Mexico, we have the draw system. So you don't know what you're going to get for the hunts. And I was sitting in bed early January thinking like, and this was my exact thought to myself, and it might sound cliche, but like, I told myself, well, maybe God hasn't given me that elk tag because I'm not shooting my bow. I'm not working out. I couldn't even go out in the mountains and drag an elk out, cord it out, and do all those things. That changed my mind with the elk shape, and that's who I got involved with first is Dan Stanton. I know you've been a
Yep.
podcast with him. And
Yep.
then
Awesome
when
dude.
I got involved with you guys, that community I saw, my first advisor was Q. Q's the man. I wish he was still with First Form, but I wish him the best in his endeavors. But that community and the way he looked out for me and wanted to see me succeed, to push me, is crazy. And then my advisor for Legionnaire is Angelica, and she's high energy, same way, wants to see you do the best. That community reminded me a lot of the hunting community. They're not here to see who's better. They want everybody to rise. The tide rises all ships, and that's what the First Form community has done for me. And it seemed to trickle down to my wife, to the kids, just the people I'm around. It's outstanding how that you just start to breathe that out to everybody else. And that's what I got from you, from Armando, from Angelica, from Q, everybody around. That's the way they are. It's not who can kill the bigger elk, who can lift more. Let's lift everybody up, see who can lift more together as a team.
Right. Dude, I love that. It's a collective effort of just like, hey, be the best you could possibly be. Right. Like
Yes.
we go through life, and this is, I've said it before with social media. Like social media is like a hammer, right? Like you can use it to build a beautiful home, or it can be used to destroy that home. And it's really just how you use it, who you surround yourself with, what you look at, because it can be very easy to get into the highlight reel of life and watching through everyone else's lens of what their life looks like or what they portray it to be like, when the reality is like that's just a 30-second clip of a good part of their day. And at the end of the day, they're probably going through all the same shit you or I go through, if not worse, in different capacities. but they try and put out
Yes.
those good things, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, how is it perceived? And I do believe there's power. It's a big reason why I even started the podcast, is to be able to have more in-depth stuff versus just the highlight reel side of things, right? Because no one wants to share like the negativity side of things or be the negative Nancy. I mean, there's some people out there, but don't follow them. Don't need any of that shit. Uh, but I guess going in, like, there's always steps, right? You couldn't go through, you couldn't hike the mountain. You weren't doing X, Y, and Z. Everyone's got to make that conscious decision of like, okay, I'm going to go. And this is, of course, for anyone listening, like, there might be individuals who, are 10, 20, 30, 100 pounds overweight. And that's a big piece, like physical fitness, not just to have a pretty six pack or anything like that, but like to function well enough to not miss the opportunity to go hunting or to go whitewater rafting or climb that mountain or go hiking, camping, whatever it is. Like, you had to make a decision, right, to start moving forward. And sometimes that decision looks like this huge mountain people have to climb over. What did you just like, what are the simple steps you started making to essentially start climbing that mountain towards the results you've earned?
For me, in the beginning, it was just simple, almost like AA for myself. Is just take it one day at a time. If you set the alarm at 6, get up at 6. Don't do the play the game. Well, let's just sleep 30 more, and I'll get it later. It never happens. For me, it was if I set at 5:30, I get up, and I just like to do my workout in the morning. And they
Mm-hmm.
suck doing the workout, but man, when I was done with that, I felt really accomplished. Felt like I was getting towards that goal. They say you want to eat an elephant one bite at a time. That's how it was for me at workout. If I looked at the whole week of workouts, I was just beating myself in my head. So if I looked at today's workout, let's worry about hitting today's protein, get through that, shoot my bow, the amount of arrows I said I was. It made it a lot easier to just chunk away at it. And before you know it, your grouping is getting tight at 30, then it's 40. Your workouts are seeming easier, maybe not easier, but you're getting them done faster if you're doing like an AMRAP. And those things, I could really feel the difference. And then you go out, people you haven't seen in a while, and they notice the difference. Then you're like, oh, I really am doing something, because we're our own worst critics. I would feel like, man, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
lifting enough weight. I'm not shooting my bow enough. But you get
Right.
out there and you do a 3D shoot and you realize you're shooting top scores. You're like, okay, I'm just being really hard on myself.
So did you ever feel intimidated? Like, of course, you didn't hunt before this. You were going to go with a buddy. When it comes into the fitness piece, like, was there ever points where you were intimidated to kind of get started or to do the workouts at all?
Oh yeah, there was like I said, when I started with Dan's, was called discomfort back then. I think there was a day where
Mm-hmm.
the workout was like 200 up downs for time, and that was like month one. And I was like, oh man, I think I called Dan every name in the book but a child of God. But then afterwards, I know I bought into the hard work that he was selling, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy's thinking on a different level.
Mm-hmm. So that, and going off of that piece, like going to the hunting side, were you, because of course there's a lot of individuals even who follow this podcast and newer individuals, maybe they haven't started hunting yet or anything of that nature, like, kind of what were the steps you took to get into your first hunt? What was that like for you?
For me, it was like I didn't know anything about bows. I didn't know quality bows to cheap bows. I literally got on Amazon and said full send, bought one that I could afford, and then shot a real bow and then thought, oh, this is the difference. But it was the same way. Like you can't kill a deer or an elk from your couch. So I
Amen.
think I had a tag, and my son was only 9 or 10 at the time, and he just said, Dad, let's go. So we went out in September for mule deer, and just, hey, does anybody? And I asked people, give me a place to start. I don't need to know your honey hole. And people were kind enough to drop me pins to start, and that's what we did. And lo and behold, we were out chasing deer, but we're hearing
Mm-hmm.
bugles. So even D was like, Dad, I know we're not hunting elk, but let's go see if we can find that elk. So we just learned to do that. Even though we're hunting deer, I say if we cross a deer, we'll cross a deer. And we just got up every day. We got our teeth kicked in, but we got up every day, or we could on the weekends, and we hunted. So that's all I say. If you're scared, just go do it. And like a lot of people, I know you've said it, Dan said it, the Elk Bros, just ask somebody, hey, can I tag along? I'd love to help back out
Right.
so I can learn.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to
That's
ask.
yeah, the answer is always going to be no if you never ask, right? Like, and that's
Agreed.
where it is. Like, talk to other individuals, whether it's, I mean, people reaching out to you, I know without a doubt, with even us not even talking about this, but I'm sure someone asked you today is like, hey, where should I start? Like, you'd probably give them, like, you'd be more than happy to go through and give them 4 or 5 different things. Like, hey, these are like bows you can go through and check out. And this is a big thing. Like, guys, those of you listening, like, you started with an Amazon bow, right? Like, you can start anywhere, like, but you got to start, right? And that's no different than someone
Yes.
going to like Planet Fitness or just starting out in their home doing, 100, 200, 300, or, 10 push ups a day and building it up. Like, it's just a constant effort of show up for yourself, go through and get something that's tangible that you're able to go through and execute on a day-to-day basis. It's funny how physical fitness, the success you want to see in your fitness, correlates to everything else in life, right? Like, it all comes down to just consistency in what you're trying to do. And there are people willing to go through and just give you little pointers here and there just to be like, to want to see you go out and win and succeed there. Cause I know I'll tell anyone, even for myself, like, if you're going to Colorado or you're going to Idaho, like, let me know. I can go through and drop a pin. I can like give you some pointers in different areas. Like, because if we can get more people out and enjoying it, and especially kids or first time hunters, like, that barrier to entry should not be what it is perceived to be. And I believe that there has
Yes.
been, gatekeeping within the outdoor space, to your point with the honey hole, right? It's kind of like the fisherman who's like, I'm not going to tell you where like the big fish sit, right? But even like, you don't have to tell them where your spot is. You can at least tell them what lake to go to. Like,
Yes.
give them an idea of where to go, right? And yeah, you might have your like your sweet little spot and things that you dive into, and you don't have to correlate that to what you're doing, but at least give them an opportunity to get out in the woods. So I love the fact that you've gone through that, right? That was me moving to Missouri down here. Like, I hunted private land for the longest time, like, very blessed and fortunate for that. And then you move down here and it's like, all right, all public land. And then I'm picking people's brains like,
Yes.
where should I go? What should I try? Like, and I figure out that I go where I am not supposed to go, right? And lucky good old game warden tells me I'm not supposed to be here because I read things wrong. And we all make mistakes. And it is a learning thing. You're not going to be perfect. And no one's going to be perfect in their fitness journey right off the bat. No one's going to be perfect in their hunting journey right off the bat. It's no different than relationships, any of that stuff. So I love the
Yeah,
fact
but
that
it's all
you've gone
growing
through
pains
some
that we all have to
struggles.
go to.
Dude, 100%. And you look back at them now I'm sure you laugh about it. Like, the same thing with like
But
Dan's
yeah,
workouts. Like, yeah, chuckle about that. It's like you were cursing his name for a while there, but now you can go through and shoot the shit with him. It's like, you remember that one thing you put out? And he'd probably chuckle and laugh a little bit. It's like, yeah, it was pretty messed up, right? He's like, yeah, it
but
was
yeah. I mean,
messed up.
he called it the discomfort app. So like, I was thinking like, buddy, you knew what you were getting into. Like he told you from the get go what it was.
Right from the beginning. Yeah, no, I love Dan.
Yeah.
Um, Dude, so we're gonna go shift gears, go back just a little bit here. We've been sober. Talk about that. What has that journey been like?
Man, that is I think where I seen the biggest ripple effect. It's last September hit 10 years, and that just
Sick, man.
changed everything. My whole circle who has changed you with, not that the people I hung out were bad people, it's just they can drink and quit after 3 or 4, and I didn't know how to do that, so I had to change my circle. And there was a lot of the phone doesn't ring a lot when you're not buying shots and beer and all that for a while. So I had to come to some harsh realizations too about who you really, like you said, show me your 5 friends. I had to learn that the hard way. But it's been nothing but positive for me. I become a better dad, a better spouse, better son, all those things, better, just a better human in general. And it's led me to, I used to say I liked fishing back then, but really I like to drink and kind of fish, you know. Now, when I go hear those bugles and see the sunset, I'm at a better mindset where I can enjoy the whole process. Even if I didn't see an elk or a deer, I've learned to enjoy the whole process for what it's worth. And that's just been life changing. I used to think, how could I go without drinking? Now I don't know how I could ever go back to drinking. That just was wild to me that I used to live like that.
Dude, I'm glad you say that because I mean, I'm not 10 years in, but November will be 2 years for me going on it to where it's like there's no like I didn't have an issue drinking. I can stop, I can do it, but I looked at it to where it's like it just wasn't advantageous for the life that I wanted to live, right? And the example I wanted to set. I'm not going to ever hold anyone down to your point to your friends. I got a lot of great friends out there and they can drink like a friggin' fish, right? And that's the life that they live. I work with individuals at work that, enjoy a beer or whiskey, and I'm great friends with these individuals. But, it just allows you, like, I think not having it, it's not that it does allow you to do different things, but I think there's just a great piece of like this surreal internal power that you're able to feel that you can just say no. No, I don't need that. I don't need that to have fun with you. I don't need that to have a great time with different individuals or be out in the woods or to go fishing, do those things. Like the beer doesn't make the trip. The people make the party, right? And that whether that's an individual
Yes.
or that is multiple individuals. And then you're able to remember, right? All of the different things
Yeah.
that ultimately happened, right? Versus saying, man, I really don't. Like the only thing you remember some cases were like, I just remember blacking out and I don't remember anything from there. Right? Like that was a
Yeah. You got
wild
to hear
night.
about the night from your friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. That's a scary. I've been there. Yeah, it's a scary night. That's
And like to
really.
think that people go to deer or elk camp and drink like that and try to go hunting is hard enough. You want to do it
Yeah,
hungover and
dude,
dehydrated?
bro.
Oh, that's insane. That's insanity.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's the thing, where I look at this. It all goes back to big piece. I know I've talked about it before with my grandfathers, right? I'm a firm believer that would have gotten another 5, 10 years with one or both of them, right? If there was little healthier choices made, going out for a 45-minute walk on a day-to-day basis, drinking more water, less whiskey, increasing protein intake. Shoot, if my grandpa had a protein shake every single time he had a glass of whiskey, he'd definitely be in a lot healthier spot, right? So that I think, because out west, yes, physically it takes a lot climbing the mountains and going through it. Like that'd be a blur, right? Midwest, it's definitely like, I was talking with a friend here earlier today to where, in Wisconsin, we essentially minor in school of drinking beer, right, and eating cheese curds, and that's just the life that you're brought up in, right? So it's a cultural shift, right? To where let's talk about living a healthier lifestyle. You don't need the beer, right, to go through and have a good time. You don't need the ho-hos or any of the different stuff that's out there that, a lot of these big marketing companies like to push on. Like there's no reason the hunting space is a space that drinks Mountain Dew. There's no reason the hunting space is a space that, is the Twinkie, right? Or even I love my oatmeal cream pies. I'm gonna bring one with me. It's always gonna be in my pack. But it is a treat and a little bit of a reward piece of like, hey, we're bringing this with because it's a nostalgia thing. But it doesn't mean that has to be every single night. Or shoot, deer camp. Me growing up was you get there and the younger guys or whatnot stay at camp. The uncles, dad, all them, they go to the bar and they're out until bar close, right? And then they're essentially try and get up early the next day to get into the tree stand. So
Yeah,
it was the life that we brought up. Didn't know any better. So I think
exactly.
you have done this because this goes into your story even more so. Like, dude, how have you seen this impact your kids? Like that ripple effect, I think, is huge. And watching some of the videos I've seen with you in social media and getting them involved in that, like, what is that? Stopping drinking, getting into the hunting side, like, what has that done for kind of your relationship with them?
It helped my relationship a lot with my oldest son because he was really mad at me because me and his mom divorced due to some things like that, which drinking led to other things, and that helped repair that relationship a big time. But with the other kids, especially Dion, because he's the only one that hunts with me, but it showed him a mental toughness I don't think he's aware of. And not only that, if I'm drinking in the mountains, who's going to be responsible for him? What kind of man am I showing him to be? We got to learn to break these cycles. And he's told me like that. I don't really have no aspirations to drink. And me and his mom split when he was pretty young, so I don't think he really recalls a lot of that. So he doesn't know me much other way than this. And it's helped. My patience are thin in general, is who I am, but as I stopped drinking, it's helped me even better to where when I talk to the boys, I can talk to them instead of
Yeah.
yelling and just losing it. And I have to be more aware talking to the girls too because they're a little more sensitive. And especially with my wife, I have to talk to her and not at her. And it just, like I said, the ripple effect that I've I didn't know my cousin, because of things I was doing, made the decision to stop drinking. I think he's going on, this December will be 3 years. It's
That's
just
awesome.
the ripple effect you don't even realize.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's dude, it's powerful. Like, and that's where, dude, this gets me like giddy little schoolgirl. Hunting, like you have the ability to go through and ultimately impact other people getting out hunting. People listening to this episode would go through, could take it and look at maybe starting. I mean, who knows? Someone might go out hunting for the first time. Someone might stop drinking and be like, I'll go 6 months. Cause that's literally what I did. I was like, I'll go a year. We'll see what it is. And I just haven't had any aspirations. So it's like, and hearing that you've been at 10, I was like, damn, all right. Like, that's awesome. But it's not even the, like, damn, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's just, it has no power, right? To where so
Yes.
many people was like, I don't know, like, even like 75 hard and all these different things that, Annie's put out, like, part of that is not drinking for 75 days. And the amount of people that say, I could never do that, right? Like, I
Yeah, we were
can't
just
believe
talking
you
about
go
this the other day
75
that,
days.
yeah, that like when we grew up, drinking was a cool thing. What I've noticed now is to be sober is a cool thing. Like I love how that has changed in
Yep.
society.
It's a great shift for sure. So,
It really
well,
is.
dude, I guess tell me, tell me a little bit of kind of the stories. I know you've gone, of course, uh, mule deer hunting. It's something I've never done, right? Like, what is kind of, I mean, we've hit on a lot of these different, like, kind of growth pieces, but, someone who wants to get into mule deer hunting, right? Because I've never done it, I can't really speak on it itself. Like, what would you tell them they should look at doing, or where should they start?
It depends on if you want to go rifle or archery. If you want to start into, I think rifle is a better start, and then go over to archery, because trying to put a stock on a mule deer is extremely difficult. And it will test your patience for sure. But also, I think that what you want to invest in more is some great binoculars, because you'll start with a $50 pair and then realize you need the $100 pair, and then it's the $500 pair. Just save up, buy once, cry once. Your glass is
Yep.
going to be your best friend.
Yep.
And just go out and do it.
I
Like I said, ask
agree with
somebody,
that.
hey, you got a tag? Can I go
Yeah.
along? Or would you show me?
Yeah.
I would love if
Yep.
somebody, hey, man, I don't know where to start. Can you take me? I'd love to take them. I don't know that much either, but we'll go through it together.
That's the cool piece. Like every year I go out, or I'm sure you go out, like you learn something new about yourself and about the animal, about the terrain. You learn something new every single time. No one's a pro or professional in it. Like you are always learning. Like they're very good, right? Like you talk about like the Elk Bros and some Dan State and like some of these guys, like they are experts in their field and their craft, but we might hunt completely different. You might hunt completely different than Dan, right? You can be successful many different ways. So, but we're able to take those nuggets. Going off of that, what are you kind of looking forward to this season? Of course, we're in the turkey season a lot around here. That's kind of big buzz, but do you have any tags in your pocket and anything you're getting ready for coming up?
Well, over here, you can just buy over-the-counter tags for turkey, spring turkey, and I've done it before, but I don't
Okay.
know enough. And I know the calling is kind of similar to elk hunting, but especially with Dion playing varsity ball this year, we got a lot of Saturday games, so
Gotcha.
I just rather enjoy that while we can. But yeah, you can buy spring turkey over to and fall. So depending on how fall goes, we might just go buy. I think they're like $27. Go buy
That's
some
awesome.
turkey tags and give
Yeah.
it hell, because we only got September tags as far as our hunts this year. It was archery, so anytime we get
Okay.
out in the mountains is a great time.
What are you for September? What's coming up then?
So September, we were fortunate. We both got a mule deer archery tags, and that goes from September 1st till September 24th. And I was blessed
Nice.
enough to draw another elk tag second hunt here in New
Hell
Mexico.
yeah.
So I didn't
Hell
care
yeah.
if
New
Dion got the
Mexico.
tag or Mama got the tag. If somebody got the tag, I
Yeah.
wanted to chase elk.
It's addicting, man. It's the good kind of drug. That's for sure. It's an
Yes.
addiction.
And this is where I've been shed hunting for years. It's right in our backyard.
Oh, really? Hell yeah. That's awesome. That's going to be a good time. I think it's cool too. Like, no matter who gets the tag, it's like you're just excited to be able to get out there and spend the time. That's what it's all about. Be able to go
Yes.
out there, get in with them. So you got a tag, and it's kind of like New Mexico is just a random draw. Like, it's not points or anything like that. Okay.
Nope, no points. You can't, and I think it's one of the only states that does it left. So we just barely
Hmm.
found out Wednesday. When draw day is like Christmas. You can't sleep. You don't know what you're gonna get. And
You either
and
got a
I just
chunk of
love to see
coal
green on my
or a tag.
report.
Yeah. Like going back to school. Nah, I know that because yeah,
But
I
yeah, I
think
was like a little kid. I couldn't fall asleep.
I bet. I bet. I'm pretty sure, and I might be wrong on this because I've heard a bunch of different things with the whole switch up at Colorado and all that. But I think there's going to be a couple more years here where they have like the points. And then I think they might be going to what New Mexico is ultimately doing as far as like a random draw for all units across the board, just kind of like allotted tags for different units and everything. But it'll be interesting because that's where I've hunted growing up. Like it was always over the counter, then it went to draw. Now it's full draw, of course, for at least archery. You can still go out over the counter rifle hunt and different stuff like that. But I think that's too, like, of course, you've been in New Mexico. I think for anyone listening, like, you just kind of got to look like, what state are you in? Like, when it comes to hunting, what animals are there? What would you like to hunt? And just do your due diligence and research on it. Or if you follow someone like Dennis or myself or Dan or Elk Bros, like, follow, like when we say you are who you surround yourself with, like that also comes down to like what are you putting in your brain, books you're reading or podcasts or who you're following on social media. Like if you're following someone, it's like, man, that's my ultimate hunt I'd love to do, whether it's mule deer, right, whether it's elk. Follow them and like learn those little nuggets. And I'm sure like you could put it out to where it's like you send a message via Instagram like, hey, I'm looking at doing my first elk hunt, right? Like where, like in a roundabout area, kind of Dennis alluded to this, is like where should I start, right? Is there a good zone, like a place like you would ultimately look at potentially putting in? Like I I know the basics. Like what would you recommend? Like if you are following someone that you trust, just ask them the question. Like they're real humans, just like you and I. So it's amazing how people kind of get worked up over that. But the kind of going in, furthermore, of course, we got the hunts and everything coming in September. We might go turkey hunting and everything. I gotta ask, how much, like, of course, you change your life physically throughout it. How much have you lost weight wise going like through your transformation?
So when I started, I was up closer to the 190 range, and I'm only five
Mm-hmm.
six, so I'm not a tall guy. And I usually stay between 170 and 175 now. That's my maintenance.
Oh yeah, yep. And just feel good, like a friggin' billy goat running the hills.
What was that you cut out?
I said, just feeling good, being able to run up the hills like a billy goat.
Oh man, like yeah, it's such a difference. And I can tell when I haven't been getting after it hard, you go, especially with the elevation here. It'll kick you real quick. So after those first few months and me and Dia started shed hunting, man, my body felt so good. We would just walk and go 7 or 8 thousand feet up. We're already high in the mountains and break out of MRE and eat lunch at the top of the hill and have a grand time about it. It's always better when somebody's embracing the suck with you too.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, you get to go through. I mean that true bond is built through that struggle and everything. To know, like, just no different than you going through the workout with Dan. Like, I'm sure there's more of a bond and a respect mutually. One, he respects you for going through and doing it. You respect him for putting it out. And it's like, all right, you're going through this struggle, even though you might be 1,000 miles apart or whatever it is. But it is true. Like, you can still build those relationships through social media, just whether or not you're going to show up for yourself. So I love that.
Yeah. And that's some of the best quality time with Dion in the mountains. Just one on one. Me and him talk. Even if we're not talking, we're just sitting there trying to glass the muleys or find shed or whatever. And that's, I mean, been some of the absolute best quality time for us.
Do you ever race up mount? You ever race him up the mountain or anything like that?
No, because he's barely turned 17, so I still can't let him get too far out of sight. Now that he's getting older, we might have to do that this year.
Gotcha. That's my dad and always, like when we get an animal down or whatnot, we'll go back. We'll look at each other. The last time we had gone out elk hunting, got a bull down, quartered it up, and then ultimately he had rack, I had a pack on, and we were going up to the mules for like the first load. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and he just was like, race to the top. And it was just complete silent, and it was just like it was on kind of thing. So I can truly connect with you in all facets of like just being out there. Cause some of the best memories and experiences I have with my dad are just like, they're silent, right? It's just being present in the moment.
Yes.
And it's hard to truly describe that or for someone to conceptualize that if they've never experienced it. But once you experience it, I guarantee you, you're sitting on the side of the mountain, God's country, and just be quiet and realize where you are and what you are doing. Like, it's a truly surreal thing, truly surreal moment that ultimately can overtake you if you allow yourself to ultimately be present with it. So, sounds like you've had
Oh
those kind
yeah,
of
I would agree.
experiences. Yeah, 100%. Well, dude, what kind of going in, with the podcast itself, I always I love to be able to leave people different little nuggets. Like, and I think we've hit on so many good little pieces along the way of like just your journey and story. I mean, just getting to know you, I appreciate jumping on here. It's like, I love to be able to go through and share a campfire and everything with you. It's like connecting with you, Armando, all those guys. Like, there's going to be a point in time where we're just going to have a big old like bonfire camp together, and it's just going to be a
I would
grand old
agree.
time. But what are some, like, I'm going to break this into like three little nuggets. But let's say someone is wanting to get into hunting. What are, whether it's someone you follow, whether it is a book you've read, podcasts you listen to, what is something that has helped you become better at hunting? For someone who's completely new to the game, what is a nugget that you would ultimately give them in that hunting world?
What I would say is don't think you have to have the brand new Matthews lift or the brand new Hoyt RX-9. Get what you can afford and put the time in. If you can only get a $400 diamond bow, which is still great, get that bow, go shoot it. Shoot it every day. Rep, shoot it. Don't, well, it's cold, it's windy, I'm tired. Shoot it. Put in the work. And the bows have changed. You don't need the top dollar. I think Dion was shooting a diamond for a lot of years. My
Mm-hmm.
wife shoots a diamond. She shot that elk with me this year. She put in the work.
Yeah.
That's just put in the work and show up for yourself. It would be what I would say.
Love that. Love that. All right, next one. I think you hit it nail on the head. I think that is super important, especially anyone new coming in, because they're either looking at the most expensive camo. They think that this is a money entry thing, when the reality is most expensive thing you'll probably end up buying is the tag, right? Depending on, and if you're in state, it's going to be one of the cheapest things. But if you're going out of state,
Yes.
definitely going to cost a little bit more. But it is a very feasible thing for someone to get out hunting for the first time. Really low barrier to entry. It's, I think, the fear more than anything, right? Or the unknown that keeps people from trying. But on another note, going into the sober lifestyle, someone who's wanting to look at quitting drinking, right? From someone who's now done it for 10 years. What is a nugget that you would give someone who's looking at that, or they're doubting themselves and that ability, or the fact that they don't want to do it, or they just don't think they'd have fun, or in any of those realms? What would you say to someone who's really looking at trying to change their life that way?
What we say in the AA room is don't let that 800-pound phone fool you because you're not going to want to pick it up. I got to a point where I just said, let me Google AA meetings and wasn't sure what I was going to walk into. When you walk into those rooms, you're going to hear more stories than you think relate to you. Then you're going to realize you need to be right where you need to be. So don't be afraid to walk into your first AA room. There'll be more people there to help you than you realize. And they're going to take you under the wing, and they're going to make sure this is a very serious thing that people don't realize. Just because you can buy alcohol at any convenience store, any supermarket, that it's not that big of a deal. And it's taken a lot of people's lives and continues to. Walk into that room, you don't have to, hey, my name's so and so. I'm not sure where I belong, but I think I need to be here. And those people will tell you you're right where you need to be, and they'll take you under your wing. So just don't, it's like, honey, don't be afraid to take that first step. Your life will get so much better. In a week, you'll be amazed. Then in 30 days, you'll be amazed. And then 90, before you know it, a year, and you can't even fathom going back to drinking because your life has gotten substantially better.
That's no, man. That's, again, I appreciate you sharing that experience overall, because that's something like I didn't need to go to an AA meeting, or I didn't have quote unquote a problem. So it's hard to relate to some
Yeah.
individuals, to where it's like someone who might be struggling, to where it's like, hey, I don't know, man, just put it down, right? Like that was my experience, or just stop. It's not that easy for different individuals. And I'm smart enough, I'm not thick enough to know that it's not that hard. But I agree wholeheartedly with you. Is surround yourself by people who have done it, right? Connect with those people. And I'm no different than the hunting community. There are people who want to see you succeed, want to see you win. And there's multitudes of ways people have gotten through it, I would assume, right? Like not one story
Yes.
is just the same. But there's a lot of things that ultimately, I believe, probably correlate, right? So that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that with them. Next, so got the hunting, we got the AA piece, kind of looking at the physical fitness side of things, because that's another one, right? To where most people struggle to take the first step. They don't know what to do, right? They think of, oh, I just need to eat clean, or hey, I need to go on this special quote unquote diet, right? Or
Yeah.
fast or whatever it is. What would you tell them? Like just living a healthier lifestyle and like the change you made. What's something you would tell someone new who's trying to create that lifestyle change?
Well, to be honest, I would say get involved with First Form because you can get really tricked with people, the influencers that are just super shredded, and that's not for all of us. That's I've done that once. It is like a second job. It is very hard to attain and keep. You gotta like watch your macros to a T. So get with somebody, people like First Form with Jake and all the coaches there, and you're gonna see people of all shapes and sizes that are going through the same thing you are. And it's not about, like you said, being the most ripped. Get something you can start with, kid. I'm gonna do a 30-day plan, and you don't have to be perfect. You can have your meals and eat out once a week or twice a week, and just don't be so hard on yourself. As long as you get out there moving, get in the water, hitting your protein. There's little steps you can take. It doesn't have to be, okay, I want to work out. Let me go join a bodybuilding. That you're just setting yourself up for unrealistic expectations. Start small and gain, like I said, gain that momentum. Work out today. Let's work out tomorrow. Get an accountability partner. If you are not, if you're working out and your wife or your partner is not, that makes it extremely difficult. You know, when Leanna jumped on with me, man, we were rolling. We were meal prepping for each other. She's my workout partner. We're going to the gym. And if I try to slack, she'd call me on it and vice versa. You just got to build that momentum and keep going. It was once you get it going, it's hard to stop because when you don't work out, then you're like, I should have worked out today, and you don't realize that mindset that kicks in.
Oh yeah, it's all momentum. Get the momentum rolling. I think that's something it's in all three facets, whether it's fitness, sobriety, or in the hunting world. Like you got to get the ball rolling. Like you just got to start moving, right? So
Yeah.
did she was she not on board when you first started your like fitness journey?
She would go to the gym and kind of did her own thing, but then wasn't really seeing the results she wanted. So then I said, well, why don't you join first for me? And we matched up to where Q was her advisor. And once she started that, she would look at the pictures down the road. She was like, oh, okay, she was like 165 grams of protein. Like she thought that was such a struggle for her to just even hit her protein because she's not used to eating 4 to 5 times a day with protein shakes. Now that she's seen it, she's like, okay, if I get back on my nutrition again, I know the wheel will start rolling. And once she saw it, man, that was like also become our quality time to go to the gym with no kids, me and her. And when you push yourself and you get that accountability and your partner, you've seen her going through it too, and vice versa. It's just a whole different thing for you guys' relationship.
Yeah. Yep. 100%, man. That's my wife and I go through and talk about that all the time throughout it and try and work out together, do those things. But I mean, that's really where even our relationship started, right? Like she never was really in like the fitness stuff, but I was very much like I treated the gym like a second job. She's like, "Why are you spending so much time at the gym?" It's like I look at this as like a second job because really I knew what Jake was like before that, and like I was just in a shitty spot to where it's like
Yes.
no, like when I didn't have this, I had no self control, right? Past exes, past relationships, like I put myself so much of me into all the other relationships to where it's also when they ended, it's like you totally lose yourself, right? So I told myself I'd never allow anyone to make me feel the way I feel ever again or to make me feel hopeless in that sense or not know who I was. And when you work out, you are focused on making yourself the best you could possibly be, and that's holding that standard for me. I held that with Tina when we were dating. I was like, well, if you want to come to the gym with me, we can work out together, right? Like, and then just started working out. Well, guess what? My wife's pretty hot, Like when she was working out, I was like, hey, you're freaking looking good. And then like she'd see me working out. She's like, holy shit, you look good too. Like there is definitely just another level to the bond that can be built
Yes.
throughout that, because you do see yourself working hard to be better yourself. Right. And like there is just a mutual respect that is earned through that. Right. So I love to hear
Agree.
that you're working out with her, and that she's going through and ultimately learn, because that is 165 grams of protein. Like a lot of people think that is a lot, right? Like it really, it's a baseline, right?
Yes. Yeah, and that was for maintenance. That's not to grow muscle, you know.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So that's awesome. Well, dude, I truly appreciate you coming on here, being able to tell a little bit of.
Just get a hold of me on Instagram. I don't have Facebook. I don't do TikTok. So Instagram, get a hold of me. I'm always on there. And if you need help with something and you're in New Mexico for a hunt, we'll exchange numbers. I'll go pack out or take you somewhere and we'll try and put one down. You know, that's
Hell yeah.
just Instagram's the only way. I'm always on there. No, brother, I appreciate you having me on to be on your podcast. And it's not about to be on a podcast for the world or whoever to see. For me to be on a podcast with you was full circle for me. The way I met Armando through you, you harvested elk this year. I harvested elk, and I watch you on your videos. And when you get after in the gym, it makes me look at myself like, all right, Jake, and I see Armando and Dan getting after it. What are you doing today? And I love that because
Mm-hmm.
Armando's telling me he does that too. And sometimes I don't even realize that that's being happening, you know. But so
Dude.
this podcast to me was full circle on that. That all that led, and I truly believe everybody fell in place for a reason, and that's what led to my elk harvest this year. And now I feel like I'm in that elite club because that's not easy to do, you know. But I feel above the world with that. And so I was just really grateful to be on this with you because that trajectory from that first package, and that's why I sent it to you today. That was the first package you sent me,
Mm-hmm.
and led to that and the Legionnaire and just life changing stuff since then.
Take
That
everyone through that.
was that was a once in a lifetime elk, and I had not harvested an elk yet. And in the draw system, I attached Mama Leanna to me, so therefore when I drew, she drew. So we had two elk tags. We had been here in a bugle. This was the second hunt, so this was September 15th. We were out. We're kind of spotting elk and know where we're gonna hunt. Had
Mm-hmm.
some bugles, but not really any encounters. We
Yep.
go. My hunting partner say, I want to check this spot, and I could smell like when moisture's around. You get like, that smells like there's water, you know, somewhere around here. Sure enough, we found a spring. We
Yep.
sat that morning, nothing came in but some turkeys, and then D had already missed a couple days of school, so I was like, D, I know you're gonna hate me for this, buddy, but I gotta get you back to school because I have a feeling we're gonna get some elk tonight, and I don't want you to miss another day. So
Yeah.
I could tell he was visibly upset, but he understood, and I did tell him this is God testing us too, son. If we can do the right thing, the right thing is for you to get back to school. And he said, yeah, you're right,
Yep.
Dad. So I zipped him down the hill, get back, and we go do our evening set. And again, we're not in the blind. We're just behind some brush, and we see where there's a little natural spring, and we're hearing out calling off, calling off. And I look over at Leanna, and she's got her rangefinder backwards. I was like, hey, just turn. My hunting partner, he's laughing. We're having a grand time. I have to take a piss, and he's like, "Oh, I'm glad you said something to do because my eyes are about to turn yellow." So we walked a little bit of ways, take a piss, come back, and one of the pictures I sent you was she's trying to range and find elk, and we didn't hear
Yep.
nothing. All of a sudden, this calf comes booking down the hill to the water, and before I even knew it, Mom was at full draw, like she was gonna smoke a calf because she doesn't know the difference between calf,
She did.
spike, cow, bull. She was just ready. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have time to grab my bow, and she was already full draw. Then a cow
Yeah.
followed her. So I
Yep.
said, baby, because she told me I don't need to shoot a bull. I'll shoot a cow. I'm good. So she was going to shoot that cow, which is all good. The cows, the water was 20 yards. And then I
Mm-hmm.
would say 10, 15 seconds later, the bull came down. And I just saw antlers, so I just told her, babe, shoot the bull. Like, take that. Well, I guess there was
Mm-hmm.
some branches in the way, and she kept saying, I don't have a lane. And I saw this bull at 20. He did his little bugle before he drank, started drinking, and I thought, if she don't let this arrow off, we're never going to see this bull again. So in that
Yeah.
second, I grabbed my bow, and he caught that movement, and I thought, man, he's gone. Well, he went up, and we didn't range because we didn't think he was going to go that way. So I was like, man, I drew back, and for whatever reason, he did the Muley look back, completely
Yep.
broadside.
Yep.
And I said, well, that looks like 40. And it was one of those things where everything slowed down. Like it
Yeah.
seemed like 30 seconds, but it was like 4. And I
Yeah.
watched the arrow, put my pin on him, buried it behind the shoulder, watched it fly, and I saw my fletcher sticking out. So it must have hit the bone on the other side because it didn't double lung. I mean, double lung, but it didn't go through. And the cow
Mm-hmm.
barked, elk, they scattered. I saw which way the bull went, and I mean, I was just like, I freaking shot a bull, and my hunting partner is all pumped, and then he's like, you guys both shot him. I said, what? He's like, yeah, Leanna shot him too. I didn't hear her bow go off. I didn't see her arrow. And she's like, no, I think I missed. And he's like, no, I watched the binos. They both hit. So then she was like, okay, what now? Like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Like she was like, cool. And like, I'm shaking. I'm fired up. We walk over there. Sure enough, her arrow was there bloody. She passed through him
Wow.
with a diamond bow. She pulls back 60. So we start blood trailing. And I think I marked it. He went 250 yards and we found him. And my arrow, that's why I sent you those. That's how far our shots were in that
Yep.
picture I sent you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she
Okay.
put on the
That's
money.
totally.
Yeah, that's why I was
I'm
like,
gonna
let
have
me give you
I'll
some
have
stuff.
to, I'll have to
So
book
yeah, so
something
I
to
told
you
her
for-
like, babe, if you want to hunt next year, you're welcome to hunt with me. But if not, like this is an elk for the ages.
Yep.
And she's like, no, if I draw a tag, I'll hunt with you. So of course we took it to a taxidermy. We'll get it back in a
Yep.
couple months, but she didn't draw this year, but I think she'll still hit the mountains a little bit with me.
What a
So it was,
story.
man, it was a blast.
'Cause it
Yes.
does.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
we were just
awesome.
there BSing and they were on us before we knew it.
I think
Yes.
that's it.
Yes. Appreciate you, brother.